violence broke out. The country's ruling military council has vowed to rebuild the church and prosecute those responsible. The Taliban has claimed responsibility for an attack on a funeral procession attended by anti-Taliban fighters in northwest Pakistan. The suicide bomber killed at least 37 people. 100 others were injured. Kamal Haider reports from Islamabad.
It became a race to save the lives of those caught by the bomb's deadly blast. The victims had been taking part in a funeral procession. Now it was a procession of wounded to hospital. Some would live, but many would die. This attack was cruel even by Pakistani standards. The attacker, a young boy, said to have been wrapped in a shawl. Just as the crowd prepared to pray, he detonated his bomb. The main target, the leadership of the anti-Taliban militiamen in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. A volunteer fighting force organized by the government in its long-running war against the Pakistani Taliban. They've been targeted before. 2 years ago, the head of the force was killed in a bomb attack. The Pakistani Taliban may be feeling some pressure here. However, almost every week, they remind the government in Islamabad that they remain a potent force in Pakistan. Kamal Haider, AlJazeera, Islamabad.
In Bangladesh, Nobel Peace Prize winner Muhammad Yunus has appealed against a High Court decision which backed his sacking from his own bank. Last week, the central bank removed the 70-year-old as head of the microlender Grameen Bank for being over the retirement age. Allies say the decision is part of a government vendetta. Devout Hindus in the U.S. state of California say they're unhappy with the way American popular culture has commercialized their religion and culture. They say the modern yoga movement has made people forget its deeper identity as a spiritual ritual. Rob Reynolds has more.
As you breathe into the back of the body.
The U.S. is in a yoga boom, with about 16 million Americans doing yoga, spending $6 billion a year on lessons, books, and other items. Yoga has become as American as pizza or sushi.
Breathe with expanded awareness.
Many yoga classes feature some quasi-spiritual talk.
We're seeing others in their essence is that which is pulsating as goodness itself.
Others, like Kimberly Fowler's studio in Los Angeles, present yoga simply as good exercise.
If you've never done yoga and you walk into a class and the teacher's talking in Sanskrit and you're like, what are they saying?
But what is often overlooked amid all the stretching, twisting, and twirling is that yoga is a religious ritual, a Hindu ritual. At a temple near San Francisco, a Hindu priest says prayers before an altar. In another corner, a family prays for safe childbirth. There are about 2 million Hindus living in the United States, and many of them are not comfortable with the way their sacred traditions have been appropriated by American popular culture.
We want credit where it is due.
Swaminathan Venkatraman is a board member of the Hindu American Foundation.
Our major concern is that the roots of the practice need to be acknowledged. And we believe in today's modern yoga movement in the US, there is sometimes even a conscious effort to de-link yoga from Hinduism.
And be a force that is uplifting.
While Hindu ideas like karma, guru, and avatar are widely accepted, Hinduism itself is often disrespected.
Sometimes we have, the goddess Lakshmi sitting on Burger King ad, sitting on a burger. We've seen pictures of Ganesh plastered on toilet seats. They think it's cute.
Many faithful Hindus were offended by this news magazine cover depicting President Barack Obama in the pose of the god Shiva performing the cosmic dance. The Hindu American Foundation is pressuring the news media and school book publishers to change their depictions of Hinduism. Someday, they hope, Americans will learn that yoga means more than just a way of looking good in a pair of jeans.
Well, let's just remind you of a dramatic few hours in Libya. These are the main developments. Live pictures that you're looking at now, these are coming from Ras Lanuf, where the Sidra oil port has been attacked by Gaddafi's forces. Rebels are trying to hold on to the strategic city, which is, of course, a main oil terminal, but their rocket launchers and anti-aircraft guns so far no match for Gaddafi's air power. Now that comes as we're hearing that a Libyan plane has landed in Egypt carrying the Deputy Defence Minister. Still unclear what the official is doing in Egypt or who he's there to meet. But we do know that there's an Arab League meeting taking place in Cairo on Saturday discussing the no-fly zone. I'll be back at the top of the hour.
Hello and welcome. While the Arab world deals with political upheaval, what's happening to the influence of the United States in the region? Critics say Washington's support of largely unelected leaders in the Middle East and North Africa has seriously hurt its credibility in the region. Now even the leaders of Algeria, Bahrain, Jordan and Yemen, all backed by the US, are facing angry demonstrations for political reform in their countries after witnessing the downfall of Tunisia's Zine Al Abidine Ben Ali and Egypt's Hosni Mubarak following public uprisings. Critics say that the White House's inability or unwillingness to firmly rally behind these protesters has raised questions about its commitment to freedom and democracy. But American officials say President Barack Obama's condemnation of Libya's violent crackdown on anti-government activists proves the US fully supports political change in the region. So today we ask, as the hunger for democracy sweeps across the Arab world, how much will the United States really matter to the region in the future? Remember, you can call in with your questions and comments, and we welcome your emails and text messages onto the show. Well, joining me now with a perspective on events from the US is well-known American conservative commentator, author and columnist Pat Buchanan. He was a senior advisor to 3 US presidents, Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford and Ronald Reagan. Mr. Buchanan, great to have you back on the show.
Thank you very much.
So, tell them this time the Yanks are not coming, is what you wrote regarding the US intervention prospect in Libya. Why are you so against it?
I think this is the Libyan people's revolution. I think the United States does not have a vital interest there that would justify military intervention. I think a no-fly zone over Libya, we would have to begin with airstrikes. Those are acts of war. If you commit acts of war against Libya, I think you would have to win that war. Otherwise, you would just have wounded the snake, not killed it. And Mr. Gaddafi, as you know, the way he responds, should he survive, would be to take down American airliners. So what I say is, don't go in.
All sounds so logical. Why is it not resonating throughout the U.S. administration?
Well, the administration, I think the Pentagon is very much against going in. We're overcommitted right now in Afghanistan and Iraq and Pakistan. I think Secretary Gates is against intervention. Where you're getting it is from the neoconservatives and Senator McCain and Senator Lieberman. But my view is, as of now, unless there is some horror perpetrated, some massacre that creates moral pressure in this country, that we will not intervene militarily. I do think we ought to be there helping those folks out